Hey guys, welcome to my half moon table area where I like to display my dry beans because yes, I am very proud of my dry beans and maybe not have any place else to put them, who knows. Anyway, so I love growing dry beans. I will preface that they are a lot of work, but they just scream self-sufficient. They just scream to me like, I have food, I've got protein in a bean, this is fabulous, right? They're dry, they stay around for a really long time, so I really like them. So I just thought I'd kind of talk to you a little bit about dry beans. They are typically bush plants, which means that they do not need a trellis or anything to grow high on. So they get a couple feet tall usually, and they start off just like your normal bean, and then inside all the pods, you'll see the bean get fatter and fatter. And then when that pod is full and you can actually see the bumps of the beans, that typically is that they are done growing, which takes a couple months. I then pull the plants to start the drying process. And you can do that in a couple different ways. A lot of, like last year, I just literally just pulled all the roots out of the ground and then I laid them around, or I stuck them in my fence, just because the importance of airflow is like, you just really need the good airflow around the dry bean to continue drying, or they will get moldy. So if you get a really wet season, then you need to go ahead and try to figure out, put them in your barn or something like that. Don't stack them on top of each other. Come up with some kind of fencing that they can dry. You can get rid of the leaves if you want, but you want them to continue to dry on the vine for as long as possible. And then what we like to do is then eventually bring them in the house, and then we will go ahead and put all the little people to work for shelling all the beans. So these are the beans that we did it this year. So we did, this is my first year doing it. I had a friend that did these calypso beans, and they are just adorable. They're our little mini whale. I don't know if I'll be able to show you on here like that if I don't drop them. But they are cute. They are little black and white, and they look just like a whale. Oh, they're just adorable. So these are dry beans. And again, you want to make a 15 bean soup. That would be one of them. You only have 14 more to go or whatever. The other ones that I really like growing is the pinto beans. And you can, these are what I use for refried beans right here. These pretty bad boys right here. So we'll use a lot of those. I got a couple containers of pinto beans because we go through a lot of refried beans. I use them and I add them to all my Mexican dishes. So every time I make tacos, it makes that 1 pound of meat go a little bit farther when you add a nice jar of home refried beans. So I will make them in the crock pot. You'll see the recipe down below if you'd like to make those as well. You're not able to pressure can them. If you listen to one of my videos before about canning, since refried beans is a thick thing, the heat can't penetrate into the middle even if you pressure can it, so it wouldn't be safe. Of course, they do that somehow at the manufacturing plants, but at home, I believe that it's not feasible. So I make up a big 10-quart crock pot, and then I just freeze them into freezer-safe jars, leaving that little space, in the freezer, because things like to expand and crack. So you got to be careful with that. And I only use glass. I don't use plastic. So there's that. That's a little rabbit hole we went down, huh? And then also kidney beans. These are beautiful things. There's another bean for your 15 bean soup. We use that a lot for chili, and so we use that. And then I also use black beans. They are a little bit smaller bean. They are more difficult to shell apart because they are smaller, especially compared to the bigger kidney bean. But we will use the black beans again for all of our Mexican dishes and stuff like that. And I add that to a lot of casseroles. And it's a nice filler that is a protein, and it stretches all the meals and everything like that. So we put a lot of focus into dry beans the last couple of years just because I think they're cool. I just think and they're pretty. That's not pretty, right? These are wheat berries and these are corn, so those aren't beans. But so how to use them, I will go ahead and use my crock pot to make the refried beans for these. And for the kidney beans and the black beans, you will follow a canning method to do those. You basically soak them overnight so they get a little bit softer. And then at that point, you can either put them on your stove top and bring them to a boil and let them cook until they are soft. I find that the kidney beans just have the hardest time of ever getting to that texture of softness. They're just a little too hard. So my favorite way is to go ahead and pressure can them. So I will soak overnight. I will follow the directions to go ahead and pressure can them the next day. And then I've got, just like if you went to the store, I would just go to my pantry, pop open a nice jar of black beans or kidney beans and use it in whatever I want. And then, you know, so it's much easier. But there are some extra steps in all these process that you have to do. But again, part of it is about food security, knowing that I grew these things organic. There's nothing bad about these at all. They're healthy, they stretch the budget, and they can kind of sit here until I can do something with them, which is really nice. So that's why I really like to do dried beans. They're just a little trickier when, just make sure that airflow when they're drying out, that they don't turn moldy. If the pod turns moldy, but not the bean inside, I usually keep those. If they start to look questionable, then those are my seeds, then I will then plant for next year. So these are one of those great things where you buy the seed one time, you go ahead and plant them, you just save some of those seeds from the pods and keep the continuous process of going over and over. So I will literally just save out a handful of these and go plant this again this year. And so that's really self-sufficient, and it's just awesome, right? Dried beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more I'll let you finish that one. All right, see you guys.